Alrighty, good morning, guys. I am so happy to be back. I'm Vila. Um, this summer, I went to Ethiopia to build an orphanage and to love on the orphans there. One of the major things that the Lord did this summer was truly the work that He got done. I was in a third world country where things don't go very fast, and so we were always able to have the supplies that we needed, and there was a day that we didn't have our concrete that we needed, but the Lord worked that out and we were able to get the work done that we needed. Another thing that the Lord did was we weren't an evangelism team, we were a work team, but we got little gospel coins that were about that big, and they had John 3:16 in Aramaic, which was their native language. And there was a 16-year-old boy that one of my teammates gave the gospel coin to, and he, kind of talked about like how he was Muslim and how his religion wasn't fulfilling and how he wanted a religion that could fulfill him. And, he went home and I'm guessing slept on it, and he came back the next day and he was like, you know what, he brought a note to us and he was like, you know what, I accepted Jesus into my heart, and I found the satisfaction that I've been wanting. And so that was really cool for us. That's what made my summer, was that we got to bring a boy to Christ, and that's what made it worth it. And then also, two of my teammates gave their life to Christ, and a lot of us on my team went for, the purpose of we went for the purpose of, serving the Lord, but two of my teammates didn't necessarily have that on their heart. They went because they needed to escape things from home. They went because their parents needed to, just get away from them. And it wasn't until the very end of the trip that they got to see little things that the Lord had done. Like one day, one of the boys on my team dropped our loaves of bread, and we were like, oh my gosh, we're not going to have enough bread for lunch. And the 6 people who were making our sandwiches, when they got to the bottom of the bag, there were 6 loaves left for the exact amount of people who were making our sandwiches. And so just little things like that people got to see, and they got to see that. And 2 of my teammates gave their life to Christ, and that was incredible. And so truly, for me, those 3 people who gave their life to Christ, that made my summer worth it. And so, I'm going to explain the slides now. Thank you all, those of you who sent me letters. I cannot tell you how encouraging that was. This was where we did our church. This was my team. This is Addis Ababa, the capital city from the air. This is a hotel that we got to visit. This is a typical market you would see in Addis Ababa. This is a little stall that you would often see in Bako, where we stayed for 4 weeks. On the way to Bako, these were children that ran up to our van to see us. These were typical people that you would see on the road when you were walking in Bako. This is the Bako post office. And these were typical little shops that you could see in Bako. When we would go to the grocery store, these children would surround us and kind of watch what we were doing. This is a typical donkey cart that you would see in other small little shops. These are what typical houses looked like in Bako. As you can see, they're not very sturdy. This was the gate to our compound where we lived. This is where I slept with 6 other girls. This was our water filtration system. And that's the rest of this is what every day looked like when we got back from the work site. This was where we did our dishes. And that's our trash that our friend monkeys would get into. This is a little girl that lived next door, and we got to see her every once in a while. And this is the river that we would get our water from for our concrete. And this is also another picture. This was our walk to worksite every day. It took us 30 minutes to get there, and was very, as we got there, it was very steep and rugged. Here's another shot of the river that we got our water from. The children would walk back with us. The children from the orphanage would walk back with us from church. That's also the walk home from the work site. The day the children got to come visit us at the work site, they built their own little orphanage. We got coffee 2 to 3 times a week, but on the last day we got coffee on the work site, so that was super cool. This is what a typical coffee pot would look like in Ethiopia. Children would watch us from the trees as we were working. This is where we started, from the ground up. So we had to dig our trenches, and those were the rocks that we put in the trenches for the foundation. This is the second layer of the foundation. That's the day that the children got to come visit us on the work site. We finished 6 layers of the wall. So that was, these were our bricks that we used, and Ethiopian bricks aren't very stable. This mixing concrete. That was our translator, Chimdi. He was wonderful, and we loved him so much. This is one of my teammates. The children loved our cameras. Every time we went up to the orphanage with our cameras, they would always try and take them. That's one of my leaders. We gave them little gospel bracelets. We taught them that a heart means love. This is what an Ethiopian church would look like. I really appreciated how the kids worshipped on their knees. This is our traditional Ethiopian dinner that we got. This is the boy that accepted Christ. They really, really, really loved hand games. So they taught us all the hand games that they knew. This was a little girl that was kind of watching from the outside when we were at church. I kind of wished I could have pulled her in and sat her down next to us. We gave them little coloring books in Aramaic that had the verses on them. This little boy was grounding the coffee beans for coffee that we got. This is their tap water that they would use at the orphanage. This woman was doing the kids' laundry, but most of the time the kids did their own laundry. This was balloon day. This was a very exciting day. They didn't know what to do with the balloons, so they put them on their heads and this is one of my leaders and our favorite little girl, Zufan. These are some of the orphanage caretakers that they would watch the kids. This is my head leader and one of the boys from the orphanage. The Bako people in appreciation gave us shawls as a gift, and they taught us how to wear them correctly. Maybe. This is our last day when we had to say goodbye. They watched us through the gate as we left. This is us loading the buses. Thank you guys so much for your time, and if you have any other questions or you want to ask me about things, I'd be happy to share.